Everybody, this is Arden Moore. She is the pet health and safety expert. And Arden, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell people briefly what you do.
What's up, everybody? I am Arden Moore, the pet health and safety coach. I do wear a lot of collars in the pet world. I have a radio show called Oh Behave on Pet Life Radio. I've written, I think, 24, 25, 26, who's counting, pet books. I'm a pet behavior consultant, and I am the founder of National Dog Party Day, a party with a purpose. And the thing that brings the most passion to me is being the founder of Pet First Aid for You. And it is a program that is approved by veterinarians. And hey, folks, if you're going to take a Pet First Aid class, wouldn't you like to have pet safety dog Chipper, a real dog in class? And believe it or not, Casey, Rock'em Sock'em Orange Tabby, who is the pet safety cat. We have the only cat and dog teaching team in the country. And we should have more people having a real cat and a real dog to help you know what to do and what not to do in a pet emergency. So I'm doubly blessed with Chipper and Cool Cat Casey.
Hey, Cool Cat Casey and Chipper. Yes, Casey the safety cat. Exactly. Hey, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them out, and I will get them. I will ask them, when I can. And I'll write them down. So go ahead and ask your questions. But I'm going to go ahead and start asking Arden some questions. So we want to talk mostly today about pet first aid. So who should take a pet first aid class? Is this just professionals?
Everyone. If you love your pet, it's nice that we buy them fancy collars, give them very healthy food, take them sometimes to travel with us. But the best way to show how you love your pet, learn what to do, and that's called Pet First Aid. So I think pet professionals should take it, as well as folks like us that are lucky enough to have a dog, cat, or more in our life. When I teach our programs, I customize the classes so they're for you. If you are a cat lover, I teach cat pet first aid. If you have a dog training business, I just trained a bunch of dog trainers in Dallas. I customize my classes for groomers. So I think it's important for all of us. It's the best gift we can give our pets, is to know what to do when they really need us, when minutes count.
Cool. So I have another question, but before I get to my question, Claire wants to know what kind of cat Casey is.
Casey, you ready? You get your bio. My name is Casey. I'm about a year and a half old. I came from the San Diego Humane Society. I am Arden's very first orange tabby, and he's a trickster. Hey, Casey, come here. Sit. Nice. Why don't you give me a touch? Nice. So don't let him know he's a CAT. We teach him like a DOG, but he is a very nice boy. And here is Chipper, who is a almost 13-year-old Husky Golden Retriever mix, who is my pet safety dog. And together, they rock.
And Casey just wanted to rock away.
That's what he walks all around in our classes. He's been in dog boarding facilities. He actually lives with 5 dogs because my sister has 3 dogs, and I have another little dog named Cleo. So Casey has a puppy posse.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. And he probably keeps them all in line, too.
He does. He's a very good boy. And when they all come in from the outside, from the backyard, he sits by the door and he swipes their butts with his paw.
I love it. I love it. So what are some of the skills that you teach?
We teach, there's 2 parts to the Pet First Aid program. The first one is the one where, you come home and the dog or your cat is not moving. And that one will involve CPR and rescue breathing. And we go through all the steps on that. I'm also happy to say I spent the big bucks, and I have now one of those special Recessa dogs. It looks like a large Dalmatian. We call it Domino. Domino has things in his body so you can actually get what it really feels like to do a life-saving breath of air from your mouth into your dog's snout and see the chest rise and then go down. So in our classes, you get to really experience what it's like to give the second part of our class is uh-oh time, pet first aid. That means the dog or the cat is awake, they're probably in pain, and they're not real happy. B, stung, they get bit in the butt by another dog, they get too hot, they get too cold. So we're teaching you some of the things that happen. What happens if they ate your chewing gum, and that has xylitol in it? We teach you what to do to stabilize, immobilize, and get the pet to the vet. I will tell you this, in my classes, no one's going to become a veterinarian. But at the end of my classes, you're going to become pet detectives. You're going to know what clues to look for, and when you're calling the veterinarian, they're going to have a room ready, and you're giving them as many clues as you can so that your pet will get faster treatment, more specific treatment, and you might save a little money in the old pocketbook. Instead of saying, I don't know why my pet's not feeling well. I have a 13-year-old, 65-pound Husky Golden Retriever. I've been gone for 2 hours. I came home. She's not moving. There's some mess on the floor. I'm going to grab it, bag it, and tag it and bring it in. I have just done 3 sets of CPR. I'm 5 minutes away. You say that to a vet, they're going to love you. You are saving your pet. That's what we do in our classes.
Cool. So you mentioned being a detective. Don't you have a new program?
Yeah.
Kind of centered around that?
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys, raise your paw virtually, have had a pet emergency when you don't have a pet first aid kit with you.
Yeah, let's see some thumbs up if you've ever experienced that, guys.
Because pets only have emergencies when you don't have a pet first aid kit, when you're about to go on vacation, when it's midnight, or when you're out and about walking with your pet, right?
Right.
So it's called life.
So we've got at least one thumbs up coming.
All right. Or
Camping. They have an emergency camping.
I wrote this for Dogster. I write for Dogster magazine, the new dog fancy magazine. I came up with a phrase, folks. I call it how to be a mutt-giver. Remember that old show, MacGyver? Now I'm really dating myself. But that guy could do anything with a Swiss Army knife, right? All right. So in my classes, I also teach a special class called How to Be a Mutt-giver and what to do to help your dog when you don't have a pet first aid kit.
Very cool. So just using whatever you might have available, like MacGyver.
Example, MacGyver, Arden Moore, puts on this hat, right? When we walk with our dogs, we usually have a hat on, and when it's warm, we have a bottle of water. If your dog is starting to show signs of being overheated, which is, and you see sweat on the paw pads, and their tongue is sticking out, there's a good chance that he's getting close to being heat stroke. Mm-hmm. You flip your hat, pour water in there, and stick your dog. Come here, Chipper. Come here, Chipper. Come on. Chipper. Oh, Chipper says, ready?
Hey,
Chipper says, that's one paw. Come here, Chipper. Let's do it. Come here, Chipper. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can see him on the chair.
Chipper says, Arden would put water in this hat and put my paws in it, and I will cool down. And I appreciate it. It's just a simple thing. We wear shoelaces. Let's say your dog, you have a little dog, and your dog gets hurt. You have to protect yourself in a pet emergency because you don't want to be a sushi oyster in New Orleans because you don't have all your fingers. So I teach you in class how to use things like your leash. Your leash, actually, a 6-foot nylon leash can be used as a makeshift muzzle.
Right.
Shoelaces could help muzzle a small dog, could also help set a broken leg if you use like a bandana or your drawstrings of your sweatshirt.
Oh, I have a sweatshirt on right now that has a drawstring. And I have tennis shoes on, so I have first aid kit on my clothes.
I'm trying to show you some things that you have wearing in the walk that will help you become that pet's best health safety advocate. So I think being a MacGyver, it's been a real popular program. We're going to try to, I guess you could be a cat diver too. But I think it's important to teach practical aspects of pet first aid because you can do a lot of theory, And what I have been doing is I've been going to midnight shifts at the ER clinic in Allen, Texas, and learning with veterinarians and vet techs about what to do and what not to do. They've kind of taken me under their wing, and so I can share that with my students in my classes. I'm also going to write about it for Dogster, Life Behind the ER Door. You know, you bring your pet in and you're like, what's happening? You're in the lobby. So we're going to be doing that story soon, and it's going to be on an episode of my Behave show on Pet Life Radio.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep learning. I'm very blessed. I have a lot of great veterinarians who have been reviewed with me, my curriculum, endorsed it, and they're always sharing good information because I think it's important to stay current.
Yeah, I love that you're constantly learning, and you're learning in an emergency clinic. I mean, that's what you need to. That's the stuff you need to know.
Here's a funny thing. There was two dogs. One, not funny, but one dog got bit on the neck, and it was a pretty fluffy mixed breed dog, about 20 pounds. So the vet tech saw the wounds there, but then they made sure they checked the other side of the neck, which didn't seem to have anything. When they shaved it, they saw the other puncture wounds because the bigger dog's jaws had gone here and here. So they were treating that dog. The next dog came in, which was a Shih Tzu, and it got bit on the butt. And the vet tech goes, oh, that's a lover, not a fighter. And I didn't know that's a term. I go, what do you mean? Well, any dog that gets bit on the butt is running away from the fight.
Ah.
So, lover, not a fighter.
That makes sense.
We share things like that in class.
Oh, cool. So for those of you who are just joining, my name's Therese Copawoda. I am the host of the Pet Scope, the very first show on Periscope that's all about pets. And today I'm interviewing Arden Moore, who is the founder of Pet First Aid for You. She's also an author. She has her own radio show. She's just an all-around, very knowledgeable pet person. Does that about sum it up?
Every day I learn something. Every day I try to share something. I think that's a good philosophy.
Yeah, I think so too. So you have your friends there, your furry friends there with you, Casey and Chipper. How does that help when people go through the class to have real live demos there?
I think that gives people practical experience, and they get to work on a dog and a cat that will let you touch them. So it, to me, is a confidence booster. So my big dog, Chipper, has had thousands of people check her capillary refill, her pulse, and put her in different restraints. Hey, Chipper, come here. Come on. Come on, Chipper. Come on up. Come on up, sweetie. Chipper, come on up. Chipper says, I was born to teach. So when we do the capillary refill, we press against her gums, we release, and it should come back that color bubblegum pink within 2 seconds. You know, when you get to see it, when you get to feel it, when you get to smell it, it stays with you better. You learn better with hands-on. And I am very blessed that I have Chipper and Casey. Hey, Casey, come here. Come here, Casey. Casey, want a treat? Come on, Casey. And I also have, come here, Stanley. While I'm in California, I have a pet safety dog in training. Everybody give paws up to Mr. Stan, the man.
Stan, hey, Stan.
And Stan says, I actually got attacked by a dog about 6 weeks ago, and I'm recovering. And so when Art takes me to her pet class, we're going to talk about what happened with the dog walker, the dog coming out at us, and how I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, poor guy.
He's a sweet, sweet dog. So he says, here's the capillary refill check. Press, release. I am bubblegum pink, right? Yes.
And since you're talking about that, if it's not bubblegum pink, what could that mean?
Gums don't lie. In other words, if the gums on your dog are pale or bright red or yellow or grayish or bluish, that means there's something wrong with your dog. So, for example, a dog that may have blue gums may not be getting a lot of oxygen or maybe suffering from frostbite. A dog with bright red gums may be overheated. You know, if the gums are sticky, that's also a sign of dehydration. So in our classes, we're poking around in my cat and my dog's mouth. And they're like, just do this when you get done. Give me a
Give
treat.
me a treat. Yep. We'll work for treats.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I just really like being able to show people the real deal on pets and then encourage them to do this at home. And we encourage them to practice the skills while the pet is happy and healthy because they're downloading it.
mm-hmm.
And so when the real disaster hits, they know what to expect when you put a restraint muzzle on them or you're checking for their pulse. And I think every dog and every cat should be able to be touched from the head all the way down to the base of the tail. It just makes it for better diagnosing. If you're going to be a pet detective, you have to know what's normal in your dog or cat.
Right, absolutely. So if you're in an emergency situation and you apply a first aid technique, how much a difference is that going to make in the pet's recovery? Is it going to make a big difference, do you think?
It really depends on the circumstance, but to give you an example, one of my students took my class, and she has a dog named Rocky. I can't make this up. And he's about a 50-pound lab mix. Rocky got attacked by a squirrel.
No.
And bit him on the nose, ripped his nose, and there was blood everywhere. And my friend Mindy, who took the class, said, I would have passed out, but you told me what to do. And she did everything to stop the bleeding, called the vet. Rocky got 14 stitches, and he got transported calmly and safely by his pet parent, Mindy. In our classes, I tell everybody, I give you permission to freak out later. Because during a pet emergency, your pet feels your energy, needs you. If you're screaming dudes like little girls, your dog or cat's heart rate's going up, they're not being able to be stabilized. So trust me, I've had pet emergencies myself, and I freak out later. As long as you get permission to freak out later, they need you in the now, or as Casey would say, the me now.
Me now. Absolutely. So I know you work with a lot of pet professionals, and they can use that for a marketing point,
oh, yeah.
Right?
Hey, folks, who do you want to go take care of your dog? To be groomed, to be walked, to be pet sit? Do you want somebody who doesn't have any certificate in pet first aid, or someone who keeps their training current every 2 years? I'm voting for number 2. If you have a business, I will come and do an in-service training for you or one of my trainers, and you will be able to show that to your clients that your staff knows what to do. It's always great when you go to a boarding facility and they say, well, we have a great relationship with this veterinarian, and he's on call. And I say, well, how far away is his office? Oh, 10 minutes. I said, if the dog nicked his femoral artery and you can't stop the bleeding properly, he'll bleed out in 5 minutes. So I'm going to show you how to stabilize and stop the blood loss to get that dog to the veterinarian. I also work with them to do like press releases saying, ABC Kennel just got trained in pet first aid. We do pictures, we do short videos, they post it on social media. It makes people realize that these people genuinely care about your most priceless asset, your pet. So I customize my in-service training for pet professionals.
Very good, very good. And where do you teach? You said that you will travel. Where do you?
Hang on, Casey. I'm based in Dallas and San Diego, and if we're able to, I've taught classes in Seattle, Northern California, Chicago, but it has to be something where we get maybe 2 or 3 classes lined up over a few days, and Casey will fly.
Oh, yeah?
Chipper will drive, and Casey can be paired with a service or a certified therapy dog if I can't take Chipper, because I will not fly Chipper.
I don't blame you either. There's no way I'd put a dog on a plane.
No,
just not
and
gonna do
Casey
it.
will serenade everybody in the cabin. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? I mean, look at this boy. He just got done 10 weeks of teaching kids at the SPCA of Texas, a little summer camp, and kids were poking him and learning about whiskers. He is a great demo cat. I'm very, very lucky.
Somebody wants to know if what you're doing now is part of first aid.
Handling, yes.
Handling.
The reason being is because in a pet emergency, your pet needs to be touched everywhere. So yes, I actually teach, I do this with Casey because he's then used to the touch. So if you're trying to wrap a towel or something, he's now used to it. We play with his paw pads all the time. And when he gets his pedicure, look at this, he just lets me touch him.
Wow, that's pretty amazing for a cat.
So I have really acclimated him to touch. And if that's one of the best gifts besides pet first aid, your pets need to be knowing that hands can be friendly and they need to trust your hands because they need to be examined. Right?
Okay. So let me reintroduce myself and Arden real quick, and then I will get to a couple questions that we have here. So if you're just joining, my name's Therese Kopawota. I am the host of the Petscope, the very first show on Periscope that's all about pets. And I'm talking to Arden Moore, who is a pet safety instructor, health and safety instructor, first aid instructor, and author, and she has her own radio show. And we have some questions here. So Arden, you cover in your classes, you cover poisons and what to do if they ingest or get into poisons in any way, right?
Yes, and then unfortunately there's a lot of different poisons out there, folks, and that's why it's very important to be a pet detective. Try to look for as many clues to determine maybe what type of poison your cat or dog got into. In certain cases, with veterinary permission, in our class we teach you how to inject. Hey, Casey, you ready for this? Let's see what we'll do here. Casey says, oh, there she goes again, poking in my mouth. Okay. Well, we show you the right way to inject this hydrogen peroxide. You only do it with permission by a veterinarian. We also teach you what different kinds of plants are poisonous so that you don't set your pet up for disaster. When I moved to Texas, my sister had Easter lilies in her house.
Ooh.
And I said, Deb, I'm sorry, but we can't have Easter lilies. And she said, why? I said, because it will kill Casey, who's very, 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 very curious. So we got cat-safe plants. And so that's one thing. With poisons, we do go through different ones. Bee stings, chewing gum with the xylitol, pool chemicals. There's a lot of poisons, and we show you to be watching what the cat or dog's symptoms are and how to respond accordingly. Because, you know, it's very life-threatening in some cases.
Can you just real quickly tell people why you don't always want to have them vomit something up when they swallow a poison?
Because sometimes it can come back through their system and start irritating other organs. I don't quite know what else you're asking on that one.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I was going for, because it can...
If your dog is a chewer and got into something that had acid in it, like a battery, got into a toy but was vomiting, you wouldn't, and you weren't sure, you wouldn't want to put hydrogen peroxide in it because the acid from the battery would go back up and cauterize the organs and the throat. So you really do have to pay attention, and we go step by step. I think the best way to learn is to show you what we're doing, explain why we're doing it, have you do it, and then we show you on a PowerPoint. But and our course books are pretty cool. They're step by step, and you know, I just feel like it's important to be a very active class. I'm not sitting there going la 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 la, read page 12. No, we're doing, and it's a lot of fun because you never know what Casey's going to do, right, Case? You going to say hi to everybody? Okay.
Hi, Casey. So if you're just joining, my name's Therese Kopawota, host of the Petscope, the very first show on Periscope all about pets, and I am talking with pet first aid instructor and author Arden Moore. Let's see, I'm always worried about my dog eating something bad. Yeah, that's always a concern. So Arden, somebody wants to know when you're going to be in Dallas and when you might have classes there.
My next class, if everyone would be willing to write this down, go to Pet First Aid for You, that's a number 4, letter U.com. Go to the schedule page. You will see my next class in Dallas is December 5th. It's going to be at the SPCA in McKinney, and we've got some other classes set up for January. Currently, I'm in San Diego, and I'm teaching a class Saturday, October 3rd, and one November 1st, both in San Diego, and those are all posted on petfirstaidforyou.com. If you have a business, you want me to come, and do a private training like I've done with several companies here in San Diego and in Dallas, just email me and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, and after we're done, folks, I will give you I'll do a screenshot of her other website and her name, and you can get in touch with her there. So, Arden, I was a pet first aid instructor for a number of years and had some follow-up stories that were kind of interesting. What kind of follow-up stories have you had from some of your students?
Well, I actually had a friend who had a Pomeranian Dachshund who started just gasping for air and collapsed. And she actually did all the right steps and was able to revive little bear man and got him to the emergency room. And it turned out he had swallowed that was blocking his air pipe. And they were able, he succeeded. He lived. And she said, I remember what you said, permission to freak out later. And she did.
That's huge.
Like I said, I had the story of my friend with the dog that got bit on an attack by a squirrel, and she stopped the bleeding. I personally have been to, my other dog is a surf dogger, and there was a dog that got hit really hard in the waves by a surfboard, and we were able to use the surfboard because it was about a 100-pound dog, and put him on the surfboard, carry him off the beach, put the ice on him, call the vet ahead of time. And we weren't sure if he had his leg broken or not, but we made sure he didn't put any weight on it. And it turned out to be full ligaments, but he did all right.
Oh,
so
good.
You never know when something's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't. I know when I was a kid, I was actually in 4-H, and one of my projects was, I was all about the animals back then, so I did first aid. And I learned how to do CPR back then. And guess what? I used it.
Really?
I had to use it for one of my dogs, and actually I saved him. So
wow.
This is huge. I mean, this first aid stuff, you guys, you might think you're never going to use it, but you only need it one time for you to look back and say, thank God I did that.
I look at it, I know we can read it in a book, I know you can see it online, but nothing beats being there in person in a hands-on class with real animals.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Chipper and sometimes Casey will fuss. And I'm kind of glad. Well, look at this. I'm kind of glad because they're being normal.
Uh-huh.
And so I think it's important. Right, Casey? Yeah, he's giving you his backside. But I just think it's important. Our classes are small. I'm not teaching millions at a time. I like comfortably maybe 8, maybe 10. I'll do as few as 4, but I don't want a huge class because I want everybody to have time to learn. And so that's another thing. If you're looking for a class, I have other friends that are teaching pet first aid in different parts of the country. Really check them out. Make sure that they do keep their classes small, that they do stay current with a veterinarian. And if they can, they may not have a cool cat like Casey, but I hope that they have at least a dog that will let you touch them and get the experience of what it feels like to find a pulse on a dog, check their capillary refill. Things like that are just invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, everybody should take a first aid course. So let's shift gears a little bit before we end. Can you tell us a little bit about some of your writing and your radio, the other stuff you do?
Yeah, in fact, hang on, listeners.
Surprise, surprise. I'll bet she has a book right there that she's going to show us, maybe.
These are my 2 latest books. They're called Fit Dog, Fit Cat. And what I did was, these are all for the 21st century pet.
Ooh.
We really look at the dog and cat of today is dealing with webcams, high-tech food puzzles. Pet first aid is covered in there. They're sleeping on our bed. So I thought it was time to do a book that really caters to the needs of the modern-day dog and cat. The other book that I wrote a couple of years ago is called What Dogs Want. Now, I majored in communication at Purdue University, and the better communicators in my family are Casey, Chipper, and Cleo, because dogs and cats are very consistent in what they say, what they posture, what they do. So in this book, I decoded 100 things they do and say and posture, when you should be concerned, how you deal with it, and when you should go to the vet. And so I thank my pets for helping me be a better pet communicator.
And just for your information, guys, that book is great. I have it. And I love that book. Yeah, I'm going to have to get my hands on the Fit Dog book, too. Definitely. Yeah.
Coming at you.
And where can we get those? Can we get those on Amazon?
Yeah, they're on Amazon, and at my classes, I do autograph them with my bad handwriting. So, and they're nice gifts for people if they want it. They can go on my website if they want to order an autographed copy. That would be fine. And then I'm now in the working of a book about Is Your Dog Psychic? I'm working on that book right now, which is all about canine cognitive abilities. There's a new breed of dog coming out here who's helping people with mental issues like PTSD and stress. And these dogs have this uncanny ability to be able to read the person, read their emotions, read their stress levels, and act accordingly. So at Duke and Yale, they actually have canine cognition centers. So I'm working on a book about some of the sixth sense that dogs may have. Or are they just extra ESP, extra sensory pooches?
Well, they're that too, I think. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Arden, for being with us. I really appreciate your time, and I think everybody enjoyed it. I think we got to all the questions. Are there any more questions before we say goodbye to Arden? Maybe not.
I appreciate this opportunity, Therese, and everybody, be your pet's best health ally. Please, please, please take a pet first aid class.
Yes. Excellent words to end on. Thanks so much, Arden. You don't have to leave yet, but I am going to minimize you so that I can, I'm going to show everybody how to get in touch with her. If you go to fourleggedlife.com, you can get in touch with Arden, and you can also go to Pet First Aid for You, and that's the letter 4, or the number 4 and the letter U. I just didn't put that one up there for some silly reason. But yeah, you can get in touch with Arden there. And then if you have any questions about the Petscope, if you would like to make a suggestion for something that I should do on the Petscope, somebody I should interview, then please get in touch with me either at thepetscope.com, or you can DM me through Twitter at Copawoda, which is my last name, the same username I have here. So I want to thank Arden again for giving us all the great information about pets and keeping our pets safe.